On the first Sunday of the Harmattan season, when the air was dry enough to crack lips and scatter dust like powdered chalk, a young woman arrived quietly at room 7B of the old compound. She came with no fanfare, no siblings carrying mattresses behind her, no aunties adjusting wrappers and complaining about rent. Just her, a single chair balanced awkwardly on her hip, a faded brown suitcase in one hand, and a folded mat tucked beneath her arm like a fragile relic. She did not greet loudly the way new tenants usually did. She did not haggle with the landlady over keys. She simply nodded, collected the room key, and walked into 7B with the calmness of someone returning to a place they already knew. Minutes later, her window, an old wooden frame that many tenants had long abandoned because it creaked like an injured animal, swung open. And she left it open, wide, as though she needed the world to enter freely. By evening, the entire compound had taken notice. Women washing clothes paused mid-scrub to look. Children playing 10-10 stopped counting. Even the gossip circle near the well leaned forward like spectators at a boxing match. Fresh from village, Mama Abour concluded, ringing her wrapper dramatically. "See as she open window anyhow. Mosquito will finish her tonight," another added. Maybe she no get sense for city life yet, but even the boldest gossip couldn't deny the unsettling pull of that room, dark, open, and silent. That night, Harmattan winds howled like wolves along the corridor, slamming other people's windows shut and banging doors repeatedly. Tenants rushed to secure their wooden frames before they tore off the hinges, but room 7B, its window stayed open, defiant, unmoving, as if the wind was afraid to touch it. Around 1 a.m., someone coming back from night prayer saw her silhouette, thin, upright, motionless, sitting directly by the open window. She didn't flinch when a strong gust blew her hair violently. She didn't blink. She didn't even wrap her shawl tighter. She just sat, staring into the compound like she was waiting for someone or something. By the next morning, the children had already crafted their own version of events. The smallest boy claimed he heard whispering from her room around midnight. Not talking, not praying, whispering. Another swore he heard two voices, one soft, one angry. But the strangest part, they insisted they heard it even when she wasn't inside. One girl said she passed the room and saw it empty, yet the whispering continued, rising and falling like a private conversation between shadows. The adults dismissed the children, of course, but even they avoided walking too close to 7B that morning. Something about that open window, something about the girl who never closed it, made the compound feel like it had just inhaled and was waiting quietly, anxiously before exhaling again. In old compounds, gossip does not walk, it runs. By the second day, the new tenant from room 7B had become the subject of every whispered conversation. At the well, where the gossip club usually gathered, Mama Abour was already acting like she had known the girl for 10 years. "I just day look her," she said, lifting her bucket with unnecessary force. "There is something off. Normal person no day sit for window like watchman." A chorus of agreement followed. The young men lounging near the gate added their own theories, some harmless, others filled with superstition. Some said she was shy, some said she was traumatized, some said she was simply odd. But the gateman, Baba Monday, insisted on one thing. "I never see him pass gate since she enter. But I day see him inside compound." No one believed him, at least, not yet. Within days, things in the compound began to shift gently at first, almost too quietly for anyone to notice. But patterns are easy to spot in a place where people watch each other more than they watch TV. For reasons no one could explain, birds began perching on the frame of room 7B's open window, black starlings, brown pigeons, even little sparrows. They lined up neatly like students attending assembly. But not a single bird perched on any other window. Not one. Tenants started walking faster past 7B. People swore the air around her door was always different, cooler, heavier, like it carried old memories. Children described it as cold, like the inside of a fridge. Even adults felt chills when passing by, but no one said it out loud. By the end of the week, a strange dream began circulating. Someone standing at their window. Not knocking, not talking, just watching. One man said he woke up feeling like someone had been sitting on his chest. Another swore he felt a cold finger on his ankle. The dreams always ended the same. A sudden gust of wind, curtains blowing violently, a shadow moving past the open window of room 7B. Tenants tried to brush it off stress, heat, fatigue, but they all avoided eye contact when discussing it. Finally, the landlady, Madame Josephine, had enough. She marched up to 7B one afternoon with a wrapper tied high above her stomach, her slippers slapping the floor angrily. She knocked. Once, twice. The door opened slowly. The girl's face appeared calm, polite, but with eyes that looked like they carried weather inside them. Madame Josephine cleared her throat dramatically. "My dear, you need to close your window at night. Mosquito will kill you." Or thieves. The girl simply smiled a slow, gentle smile and said, "If I close the window, they won't find their way home." The landlady blinked. But the girl had already returned inside, shutting the door softly. The window, as always, stayed wide open. The compound grew quieter in the days that followed. People walked like they didn't want to disturb something. Children stopped playing near room 7B. Even the gossip women lowered their voices, fear thinning their words. Because although no one admitted it, everyone felt something watching. From that open window, from the room that never blinked. It began with the baby in room 3C, a healthy, chubby child who laughed at everything, even shadows on the wall. Suddenly, one night, he started crying with a voice that didn't sound like his own. Not sharp, not hungry, but frightened. His mother tried everything: breast milk, palm rubbing, rocking him, but the baby only stared at the window, trembling violently. Around the mother heard something else. Footsteps. Soft, slow, measured, right outside her window. She froze. The footsteps stopped, then continued again, dragging slightly across the cement floor. She gathered her courage, tiptoed to the curtain, and lifted it just a little. And in the dim moonlight, she saw it. The window of room 7B open, curtains fluttering like hands waving slowly. But the girl wasn't there. Her chair was empty. Her mat was empty. Yet the window flickered as though someone stood in front of it. When she looked down at her baby, his eyes were wide and terrified, staring at the same direction she had just dared to look. It happened 3 nights later. No one ever forgot that night. A sound began around 2:30 a.m., soft at first, like humming. A woman's voice, gentle but layered. It drifted across the compound walls, weaving through the corridor like smoke. One by one, doors opened, first the curious, then the frightened. Tenants stepped out, holding lanterns, wrappers tied loosely around their shoulders. The humming grew louder, stronger, almost mournful. Was it coming from room 7B? Yes, but also, no. The sound felt like it was coming from every window at once, whispering through the metal rails, sliding under doors, slipping into ears like a memory trying to be remembered. Someone whispered, "Is she singing?" Another answered, "There are too many voices." Then a third voice, trembling, said what everyone else felt, "This is not normal." The chanting stopped abruptly at exactly 3:00 a.m. A silence fell, thick and suffocating. Everyone ran back to their rooms like children fleeing the dark. No one slept. By morning, fear had matured into courage. Or something pretending to be courage. Mr. Dumbuisi, the compound electrician, approached room 7B with a conviction he definitely borrowed from the sun's brightness. He knocked. When she opened the door, she looked exactly the same, calm, quiet, eyes far older than her face. He cleared his throat 3 times before speaking. "Young lady, excuse me, but people say you were singing last night." She tilted her head slightly, almost amused. "It wasn't me," he frowned. "We heard chanting from your room." A soft smile touched her lips, not mocking, not hostile, just sad. "I only listen," Dumbuisi stuttered. "Listen? To who?" Her eyes darkened with something he could not describe, something that made him step back without realizing it. "To the ones trying to come home. They get lonely at night." Before he could respond, she added something that rooted horror into his bones. and they follow voices that remind them of who they used to be. She closed the door gently. For the rest of the day, Mr. Dumbuisi didn't speak to anyone. By the end of the week, tenants avoided passing in front of 7B, choosing longer routes. Children refused to fetch water near her window. The gateman stopped sitting close to her corridor entirely. The compound had begun to sense a truth. Something was wrong with the girl in room 7B, or worse, something was wrong with the room itself, because every night, every single night, the window remained open, waiting, listening, inviting, and the compound began to understand. She wasn't alone in there, not even when she was the only one they could see.